About your ship's extended warranty. Your warranty coverage has expired due to the uncertainty of the political situation in the settled systems. It sounds like you're not interested in hearing more. That's too bad. We'll continue to reach out to you with additional opportunities.
Initiated. Watch your flaring.
Crimson Fleet.
Do you see really think this stuff scares us?
Always looking for the next mark.
Better we get it than someone else.
Glad you're in the fleet. If you weren't, I would have killed you already.
Does the UC really think System scares us? Nobody can stop the Crimson Fleet.
As long as the credits keep rolling in, life's good.
Always looking for the next mark. Always looking for the next mark. Does the UC really think this stuff scares us? $100 more credits? Then I'm out for good.
some of that Baroon stealth tech. Nobody can stop the Crimson Fleet.
Glad you're in the fleet. If you weren't, I would have killed you already. As long as the credits keep rolling in, life's good.
Glad you're in the fleet. If you weren't, I would have killed you already.
As long as the credits keep rolling in, life's good.
You might want to stow some of that. Just a suggestion. Hey, good to see you. Hey, if you find a new pistol. Yep, I was done too. Well, they don't need it.
found it before... Rumor is the part of House Baroon that would... Radio's on. Watch him.
Landing site returned. Let's set it down.
Yes? How have you been?
I don't know about you. If you need me to haul some. Goodbye.
Have any new books for me? Books? I guess it is. Do you have more books, or can you buy me more books? With real pages, a spine, the whole package. My book allowance is all gone and Dad won't get me more. So, books?
Hey, don't let her con you out of more credits. Her book allowance damn near bankrupt.
Dad, this is between us. Not the same.
You'd save me, my friend here, all of us, a lot of grief, financial and emotional, if you just read them on a computer.
Dad? Now the important question. And please don't say... Did you hear that, Dad? Meat!
We could always get one of these.
No, you lose. I have decided that I will stay. You have... I seem to have left my stamp back on Dad's ship, but imagine it there. Hello there. I'll say. You ever heard of the mantis? The famous... I don't think that's true, though. I bet you'd make a... The lodge is... Does that mean... Bye.
Welcome back.
You are entering United Colony space. Maintain course and prepare to be scanned. And we're done. Welcome to New Homestead.
Welcome to New Homestead. Please make your way to the building at the end of the path. Stay safe and enjoy.
Got any? You should inspect your ship. Looks to me like you've already... Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem.
I've heard you've been making the settled system safer.
I'm going to stay here a while. Lots to look at.
I still can't believe people actually live like this.
It's one thing to learn about early colonialism.
Powers on the bridge again.
People here live a simple life. Try not to complicate it.
We used to get more tourists than we do these days.
This is a boring assignment.
That tour guide showed one of the kids a picture of some silly drawing he saw and said,
Ah, someone new. Are you a tourist, or have you just... Well, there's lots to learn. You can always feel free to try one of the historical tours, or ask the locals about life. I'm fascinated by the other worlds in the settled systems. Do you mind if I ask you a... Oh, wonderful. What's New Atlantis like? Oh, that's disappointing. It must be a matter of personal taste, then. I wonder if I'd like it. Maybe someday. Do you mind if I ask you another? Thanks. I promise. Is the Freestar Collective as... Really? That sounds nice, but what happens if... Do people really just take the law into their own hands at that point? Can people... Gosh, I'm sorry, you don't need to answer. Is it okay if I change... Oh, thank you. Are there really planets full of plants, fresh air, and water? I've read about them. I've only ever known Titan, and I've always dreamed of visiting one to breathe the air, feel the warmth. Can I ask you something else? Oh, thank you. Is space travel as exciting? Well, you've convinced me that I simply must. Most of us here have never left the surface of New. Those are all the questions I have at the moment.
My daddy says farming is really important, but I kind of want to do other things.
Hello? I'm not really supposed to... You're not going to tell him. Oh, I guess that's okay. Not really. I don't... We mostly learn about the history of the Sol system and Earth. That's when we get to leave to go to school My mama says it's because he... But I keep telling him. He doesn't believe it. I think it's pretty fun. And I get to be around my mama and my pop. They say we all have to work a little. Someday, I think it'd be cool to see other places and do it. Let me know if you have any other questions.
It's not easy keeping these ancient turbines going. I wish more people realized that. Oh, hello there. You have no idea. Worse, I'm stuck up here overseeing the whole system, and we don't currently have anyone available to go out there and take care of the problem. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I could use someone who's handy with a laser cutter to break up the ice that's formed on some of the power systems. That should clear up the shorts we've been Just be careful not to hurt yourself, or...
Hi. Me? I guess?
Careful, not. I'm really glad you're helping us out. Great. I just saw the reading. Thanks again for your help.
Those folks in Sidonia may be closer to Earth.
Ah, there. It's nice seeing a new face.
I could really go for some of Anya's cooking over at the Brown Horse.
don't touch.
Did you know the museum here is full of old Earth artifacts?
Cool, huh? Off-worlders always ask how I can live here.
Hello there. Sadly, we're out of the special sauce. I know. So, if I'm completely honest, it is. And I just know it's because I've been in contact with some of the other. Okay, yeah.
Welcome to Chunks. Please
Welcome
choose
to
your
Chunks. What can I get for you?
It is. Wait. Oh, yeah, right. Just telling you there to pick.
It's so cold here. I guess I should have expected that.
What did we think of the tour?
Very informative. I didn't know about the methane harvest.
There are times.
Hello there. Are you? Wonderful. There isn't much of this stuff left outside. If you have any questions. Of course. We have everything from toys to most of our collection. I am Maurice Leon, and I tell stories to the young, although my memory... When our early colonists learned of Earth's demise, now some may have been lost. For instance, sure, there was once a war so big they fought because of even the colony war pales in comparison. Why, certainly. It's what I do. There was a time when huge monstrosities called dinosaurs ruled over Earth. Long before their reign, whatever it was, it nearly wiped out most of the life at that. A long time, they called it the Great Wall. I'll have to. The hope was, when that ultimately failed, then finally, when gravity. Enjoy the rest of your stay in New Homestead.
Careful. There are some dangerous areas around here that aren't part of any tours.
Boy, am I glad they have a Chunks here.
Enjoy your visit here.
Why, hello there! For instance, did you know that new... Yes, sirree, and that's not science fiction, it's science fact. There's a lot... So what do you say? I've got an opening. I could take you on a tour right now. Why would I want a tour? Well, let me tell you. New Homestead is, if you've ever wanted to know.
I'll be here if you need anything.
Word of advice. Steer clear of the doctor here. She really seems to have a problem with tourists for some reason.
I'm learning so much here.
Well, hello there. Oh, nice. Yo, it's all... I'm Jay. I'm happy to help you find... Or if you have any questions for me... Sure thing. Glad you asked. We don't get a lot of off-worlds. Between you and me, I love them. Most of it... some are indifferent about. But that being said, we used to, but not anymore. We don't really have the only thing we have are these souvenirs. Tell you what, enjoy the rest of your day.
New Homestead is a living history exhibit. But these are real people, so please be kind to them.
Careful. There's some dangerous areas.
Back before grav drives, ice mining was literally a matter of life and death. Still important to this day.
I'm just glad the auxiliary power picked up. Remember that time a few years back
If
where
you need
everyone had
medical
to huddle together
attention,
for
see Dr. Lakota. But I work for
Oh,
I can't
the
imagine
tourists
living here.
hated that.
These people sure.
Welcome. I'm Anya. Is this your first time with us?
Turbine's freezing up again.
Joyce
Oh, well, thank you for joining. We've got an assortment of food and drinks. So, what can I do for you? Oh, the locals pretty much stay away from chunks, so whenever they don't feel like cooking, only the tourists eat that junk. He manages the chunks. You mean the brown horse? There's a lot of history. My however many great-grandmother, back then, it was... Hope you'll be back sometime.
It's a little weird that people come here to see what early colony life was like.
You see those wind turbines out there?
Hello.
Tourists come to learn about the ice mines, huh? It's dangerous in the ice mines. I'd much rather answer your questions than have you... For one, New Homestead is not a wealth, but we also pride ourselves on doing things the old ways. We don't mind. We work hard here. It's very rewarding. I'm surprised I still get this question. It's slippery, it's sharp, it can break, it can cave in. Titan is also full of methane, which can sometimes be trapped under the ice. As you know, methane can also asphyxiate you if you breathe in. Ah, so you can relate. It's good to talk with someone who understands the challenge. If I might ask, oh, that's... But, visions, you say? Huh? That sounds more like... Anyway, I'm sure we could swap mine and store it for drinking water. And we use some of it to produce it. We recycle a lot of what... Be careful out there.
Talk about tight quarters.
You get used to the methane processing smell after a while.
spaceship. I want to get a spaceship when I'm older. They're so cool.
I'll treat you if you need it, but please try to be more careful around here. I don't. They make a mockery of new homes, and on top of it, they're reckless. It's like I said before. Actually, maybe there is. I have an idea that may be best suited for someone relatively unknown instead of myself. I've got a mountain, so I bought a realistic monster costume. The plan was to wear it, scare tourists away, and start a rumor about terrible... I figure that once word gets around, tourism will... Oh, good. I was hoping not to have... Here's the costume. I think this will work best on the surface, so just find a group and run up to them, acting like a convincing... With any luck, they'll run screaming and book the next flight out of here.
Sure would be nice to get off world.
I don't mind the tourists. They help the local economy.
Do you come from one of those planets with beautiful skies and fresh air? My, how I'd love to visit.
I overheard you speaking to my wife, Mara, filling her head with ideas about picking up and leaving home. You got anything to say for yourself? Listen here. Mara's free to make her own decisions. I'm not here to control her if that's what you're insinuating. But that doesn't mean I take kindly to other people manipulating. We live a simple, traditional life here, and it's important. Did you? Well, she should know better than to talk with tourists like you, but that's between me and her. Now, you might want to consider heading off before you cause any more trouble.
Don't stay outside for too long here on Titan. You'll freeze solid without the proper...
really go for some onions cooking over a brown horse.
Look, I know what I'm asking you to do. Oh, I'm glad it worked. I'm just happy I was able to find someone willing to help with this ridiculous idea. Tell you what.
Homestead's quite the learning. None taken. I get it all the time. If you think it sounds made up, well, I come from an eccentric family. Back in the early days of space, they wanted a name that seemed like it fit in. Used to be Bramblefoot before that. Baron.
I was hoping you could tell me some more.
Definitely check out the Brown Horse Tavern. Good food, great. Avoid spending too much time. Any more than that. Excellent! Now there's just the matter of price. Well. This is what you... Well... I don't usually do expose... Tell you what. I like you. This one's on the house, but if you enjoy the tour, I'd really appreciate it. So let's get this show on the road, eh? Alright, so this is New Homestead's main concourse. Sure. This underground area didn't exist when the original outpost, Titan Astro Base, was finished in 2130. Follow me. We'll come back here by the end of the tour and talk about the museum collection. But first, let's go see where people live. Now remember, these people aren't actors. They actually live here, so try to be respectful of that. While the original inhabitants of the Titan Astro Base lived in pods like you saw up above, they transitioned down here when this section of the base was finished in 2144. Space is extremely limited, so you'll notice some overflow here, but more residences also exist on lower levels, which are inaccessible to tours. I'll stop at each of our destinations if you want to look around, or if you have any questions for me. Have any questions so far? Alrighty, we'll be... Let's leave these good people alone for now and go check out the farms. Follow me up the elevator.
Feel free to look around, but don't touch.
Heart of the colony. Without them, the original outpost would have shriveled and died. These pods are sealed and climate controlled.
Some of them sound pretty scary, though.
We Titans are hardy people.
Needed for survival
to be to
in
live in a
the
place
early
like this.
days of the colony.
Thanks again for taking the time to answer questions for me. I learned a lot from you.
Any questions about... Onward it is! But for now, So, the old biolabs are just on the other side of this building, believe it or not. We'll step on through the hallway there. They're not in use anymore, but the colony has faithfully recreated them as a historical exhibit, true to the original purpose of the Titan Astrobase. Sadly, they're undergoing some light renovation. Otherwise, there'd be interactive activities for kids to learn about how they used to search for microbial life here.
This is a boring assignment, but let's keep it that way.
Pardon the dust, but I can still answer some questions about the old... You got it! On to our next... Next, we'll be heading outside, so make sure to check those seals on your suit because it's a bit chilly out there. We're going out into the frozen wastes of Titan to see what powers this planet. Watch your step outside, by the way. The ice can be slippery if you're not careful. The goal is to keep people out of Dr. Lakota's infirmary.
Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. Powering New Homestead. As you might imagine, generating energy was a real challenge back in the day because the technology was much more crude then. But crude or not, it was that technology that sustained the old Astrobase. And it might surprise you to learn that the same technology is still working today. The interesting thing about this old colony is that it's mostly powered by clean, renewable energy. You'll see one of the methods used on the horizon up ahead. That's right, New Homestead's famous wind farms. This spot was chosen for the colony in part because of its constant winds. These turbines have been integral to the colony's function since its establishment as a cheap, mostly reliable source of electricity. So, you're the boss. Let's go. Moving right along, we're going to learn about Titan's great natural resources. Titan is rich with hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Surely you saw huge pools of the stuff on your descent into New Homestead. I like to think they add to the natural beauty of this world. Though, of course, stay away from them because, like anything beautiful, they can be dangerous. Just like my last ex-wife's pet. She had this gorgeous, I don't know what you'd call it, creature. The guy that sold it to her couldn't tell her what it was or where it was from. I don't think it was even a legal sell, to be honest. The thing was very easy on the eyes. Feathers, all the colors of the rainbow. Nasty bite, though. Wound up in the hospital and almost lost my hand. Still not enough for her to get rid of the dang thing. Anyway, there's a reason she's my ex-wife. But enough about me. We were talking about methane and other resources, right? Hey, can you believe it? Back in the 20th century on Earth, they used to fight wars over natural resources like this and petroleum. They had this whole moon here basically made of hydrocarbons in their own backyard. They just couldn't get to it. Incredible how far we've come. New Homestead is home to one of the oldest and largest methane processing plants in the settled systems. Every year, UC engineers go through a painstaking, month-long maintenance process. That's how this place has remained operational as long as it has. I'm not going to take you too close to the machinery, liability and all, but I can still answer questions. Questions? Okie dokie, artichokey. There will be time for more later. So, this next stop is a bit of an interesting one. I only recently made it part of the tour. Fun fact, it's also the only natural landmark on the tour. What we're about to see is a glacial spire we affectionately call Ymir's Horn. This colus used to be named after a character in a popular fantasy novel, but it was changed a couple hundred years ago to avoid any potential litigation. Now, what's a colus, you might say? Colus derives from the Latin word for hill, and scientists only gave names to groups of hills on a planet's surface. So in reality, the term you hear more often is the plural, coles, with an E. You probably don't hear it very often where you're from, because it was usually a term reserved for unexplored planets, back when they didn't have the technology to describe what they were seeing firsthand. Because of that, the term is much more common in the Sol system, but you may still hear it occasionally in reference to uncharted worlds. This planet's full of them, though, and they like to preserve that history here. So here it is. Excellent. On to the next. So, we're gonna head back inside through the methane processing plant. Try not to touch anything on your way. We want to make sure to respect Dr. Lakota's wishes to be safer around here. That brings me to another point. You'll notice the people around here have last names related to where their families originated from on Earth, as a way to remember the past. The museum curator, Maurice Leon, has more information about that if you're interested. You can find him inside the main concourse. Loves talking about it. You'll find most of the locals here are very friendly to tourists like yourself. Tourism is a major draw to this colony these days, and they respect that. Most of them are happy to talk at length about what they do here. Their rugged lifestyle is a point of pride for a lot of these folks.
Those folks in Sidonia may be closer to Earth, but we do a better job preserving it.
This area we're walking through is the nerve center of the plant, where technicians keep an eye on the operation. Since methane production is such an important part of the colony's livelihood, it's important that the techs notice any issues and react to them quickly. Anyway, we're headed into the ice mines. It's a natural spring where water bubbles up from deep below, but due to the cold, it keeps freezing as it reaches the surface. You're welcome to keep your suit on if you'd like, as you might expect from a place called the Ice Mine.
Please tell me that was target practice.
It takes miners working daily to clear the ice, melt it down, and keep the water flowing. Can I tell you? Sounds good! We have just one more stop before we're done with the tour, and it just happens to be my favorite! This colony is home to the longest-running establishment still in existence, the Brown Horse Tavern! The Brown Horse started as a simple mess hall for the scientists and workers when the underground was built, but it's been operated by the same family ever since. Now, what's a horse, you might say? They were a large four-legged animal on Earth, often used for transportation or manual labor.
Long before space travel was even a dream for the folks of Earth, even before antique machines like automobiles were possible, horses could be found everywhere. You might have seen them in old movies or read about them somewhere. If not, I highly recommend looking into them sometime. They're beautiful animals. The tavern's original owner was infatuated with them, from what I understand, and named the place in their honor. The moniker, Brown Horse Tavern, is also a throwback to names of similar Earth restaurants hundreds of years before it was established.
That delicious smell. Okay then.
All right, we're headed to the last stop, right back where we began. Feel free to check out the museum exhibit in the main concourse here. These displays are full of rare Earth trinkets salvaged from before humanity left, and Maurice is happy to talk about the collection. The museum's curator, Maurice, will be happy to talk to you if you want to know more.
Well, that's that. Oh, wow. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of...
The old guy deserves it. This new homestead's a hope.
Take care.
There's a certain quiet wonder to planets like this.
appointments to be made, but I can spare a moment. I'd ask you to keep haggling to a minimum. Just trying to stay one step ahead.
Beginning landing cycle.
I miss my dear darling in New Atlantis, as I wander the blackness of the deep abyss. My ship is in tatters, all dented and worn. Always happy to meet a stranger. Hope my singing was to your liking. Oh, and afraid my ship's got the next jump plotted in, so I'm away. Fair travels.